This week, in a special operation in the Gaza Strip, the IDF located, identified, and returned the body of final Gaza hostage, Staff Sgt Major Ran Gvili. After 844 days, all of the hostages have come home. Over the past 2 years plus, it's almost felt impossible to move forward while the hostage crisis continued and unraveled. But now, that chapter has finally come to an end. And for the first time, since August 1st, 2014, there are no Israeli hostages in the Gaza Strip. This is The Deep Dive. Welcome back to The Deep Dive. I'm your host, Jacob Laznik. Our top story this week, the IDF rescued and returned to Israel the body of the final Gaza hostage, Ran Gvili. The operation itself involved the identification of over 250 bodies as Gvili was buried in a Palestinian graveyard in the northern Gaza Strip. We had the opportunity to speak to Major A, who took part in this operation, and give us his insights, and as well as his experience over the past 2 years of war. Here's how that conversation went.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
So first, I'd love if you could just kind of walk us through what actually happened. I understand it was a very complex logistical operation with a lot of moving parts. So yeah, just let us know how it went down.
4 weeks ago, we were back for our fifth round during the war, um, again in Gaza. And at the beginning of the reserves, so they told us, yeah, there's maybe this mission that you're gonna get. We didn't get a lot of details at all, um, but we understood that it's something connected to the hostages. And then 2 weeks ago, a week before the mission, we got more details. We started preparing, um, and then on Saturday we started operating in the area over there in the cemetery, and everyone knows now the results.
Yeah. And I saw that something like 250 bodies were checked, and it was like this very complex operation. Have you done similar operations like this in the past over the war, and has this been different?
No, actually, the past 2.5 years, we did complicated operations. Uh, but we didn't meet such operation at all. It's something very, very different. First of all, you take over the land, you get back into field, you fight, and then you start digging into the ground. Um, we took out about 700 bodies, and then we started going through all the bodies until we found Ran Gvili's body over there.
I mean, I'm sure obviously, from the moment his body was found, it also had to go through all these different stages of identification and all these other steps. But like what was did you find out in the Shetach already that it was his body? And if so, like how did that moment feel?
So you could have understand, like you see everyone whispering and going around. But it took, I think, from the second that they found out that that's his body, I think it took like 10 minutes until it just spread out
Hmm.
um, to everyone over there in field and out. They first of all, before they said anything, they first of all told the parents and the family, and only then they confirmed that that's the body, and the rumor spread out.
This isn't just like, any other kind of mission. So like what did you feel anything? Like how did that moment walk us through it?
I think I have a special connection also to the Gvili family and also to this whole operation.
Okay.
A year and a half ago, I met the Gvili family in Miami. Um,
Oh, wow.
and yeah, I didn't know about Ran Gvili. We had unfortunately we had a lot of hostages, and so I met over there his dad, and I asked him, tell me about Ran. And then he asked me, where are you from? Like, where did you grow up in the army? So I said Golani, uh, uh, 12 Battalion, and we were in the same company in active duty. And And then
Oh wow.
after 2 days, we were hanging around in Miami, and it was a week before we went back into Gaza. I think it was our third round in Gaza, and I don't know why and how, but I told him I'm gonna bring back your son. And I didn't know anything. I didn't feel anything. I felt that I have this מחויבות, that I need to bring his son back. And I think a bit too late, but a year and a half after that, I was part of this mission.
Wow.
So so
Incredible.
obviously, I felt it was very emotional the moment that we found out that we found Ran Gvili, and the whole thing around it also gave me a bit more.
As someone who's in not active, like active reserve duty, how does it feel, on the one hand, knowing that this mission is complete, at least this aspect of the whole conflict is done, and now the families can finally start healing. Um, but on the other hand, there's a lot much more work to be done. So like, as someone who has to be in Gaza, how does like what are your thoughts going forward?
So I think the big mission of bringing everyone back home, as soldiers bring also civilians and also soldiers and policemen back home, alive or to be buried over here in Israel. That was a big mission, and w we were done with that. But I really think that this war is not done, and I lost a couple of friends during this 2.5 years, very good friends. And I think we need to finish the mission that they started over there, back over there on October 7th. And it's not only down south, but it's also down south. It's making sure that Hamas is not going to be anymore in Gaza, and no terror will be in Gaza Strip. And if I take you even a bit forward, also up north, and of course, Iran, that's not me, but up
Yeah,
north in Lebanon and in Gaza, I think we have still work to do, and we should complete the mission. Um, I think now the past 3 weeks that we've been in Gaza, you could see when you're inside, you see all everything that we did over there inside Gaza and how Gaza Strip looks like. Um, all the ruined buildings and everything that they brought on themselves, over these past 2.5 years that started back over there on October 7th. And when you look east to the kibbutzim and the Israeli villages, you could see, everyone growing up, um, coming back into the kibbutzim and coming back into life.
no, it's absolutely incredible. So obviously, you know, I don't think October 7th will ever be forgotten, but I do feel, or I suspect at least in the media, there's going to be a huge focus on what comes next, on the mission that, still has to be accomplished. Because now that, all the hostages are home, that is the current pertinent issue. Um, so in that context, I actually want to go back a bit, and, I would still love to hear, from your experience, kind of where were you like when October 7th? How has, you know, your previous rounds of reserves duty been, and kind of like more of like your experience coming up to this point? Because I'm certain that there will be a lot of focus on what comes next.
So I was back October 6th. I was back from the States. I just came back from vacation, and it caught me like everyone, like very, very, very surprisingly. At the beginning till today, we did our units. We did above 500 days of reserves. We started our war up north with Hezbollah, and then we had a couple of rounds down south in Gaza. We went back fighting Hezbollah in Lebanon, and now we're again back in Gaza. Um, we did a lot of missions, operations in Gaza on our first uh on our first round. Um, and also obviously in Lebanon. Um, I think if you take Gaza, so we found, I think when we went into houses over there, there was not one house without weapons or or terror stuff inside the houses.
Hmm.
Um, I had one firefight in one of my firefights in Gaza. It was in Rimal. Um, we went into one of the houses and a whole family came out. They came out with their hands up and they came out. We sat them outside of the house. We asked them questions, and 5 minutes later, from the same house, there were three terrorists. First of all, was the first one started shooting us from exactly that house, and an hour afterwards, they came out another two terrorists and started shooting us. And I think that's the most that's what you see over there in Gaza.
We've talked about the length of the war. We've talked about this chapter coming to a close, and we've obviously addressed, what comes next. So I would just ask in closing, in light of this, incredible operation and the returning of the final hostage, if there's any final thoughts you have, anything that you think our listeners should know about, the operation, the situation as a whole, like, what do you want to share?
I think we saw it especially on this operation. You see the together of everyone in the. It's not only the reserves, the whole army. We see a mission, we understand the mission and the importance of that mission, and we do everything together. When you come out of Gaza and you see people fight on the street for on the road, and you think about a day or two ago where you've been working together with that unity. I think that's something that we need to take more to our life and more to our day base, um, because we could see over there that when we fight together, we do it amazing, and we could find amazing stories. And I think we really need to take it over to our daily basis.
Well, in that case, I just want to say, first of all, thank you for the bravery and the incredible work that, you know, you and your comrades did in order to bring Ran Gvili home. And, thank you for taking the time for your very busy day to share insights with us and, let us in a little bit more about, what's been going on. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your time, and hopefully we could spread out these amazing things that we do out over there in the field. Thank you very much.
Gvili's return closes out a long list of hostages who were murdered on October 7th and kidnapped into Gaza, with constant fear that perhaps because they're no longer alive, they may be left behind. In this respect, we had the privilege of speaking with Ayelet Samerano. Ayelet's son Yonatan was killed near Kibbutz Be'eri on October 7th and taken into Gaza, and was only recovered by the IDF in an operation in June of 2025. We spoke to Ayelet shortly after she attended Ran Gvili's funeral and asked her sentiments on the meaning of this moment and potentially what comes next. Here's how that went. Ayelet, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for the option to hear us.
Of course. So first of all, how are you? And you said you were at the funeral of Ran Gvili, and how was?
It was unusual because this is the last funeral and the last hostage. So, we used to go to funeral, unfortunately, but this funeral was like an official ceremony because I think it's an closure for the country. So, Prime Minister didn't arrive any funeral till now, and he arrived today. And a lot of people from the government. For us, the family, it was a little bit strange because Ran was another hostage, like my son, like the other. So usually those funeral was very, we all the families were together, and we could feel it. I'm very close to Talik. I'm very close to this family, but I didn't feel close today because all the security and all around, and we should be in the backstage, not in front with the family. After 4 months, 2 years and 4 months, that we are together, we fight together, we are doing everything together. But I can understand the other side, okay? So I'm not complaining, but it was unusual.
I'm sure, and obviously everything about this situation is incredibly complex and confusing, and there's so much emotion and feeling about literally everything about it. But I do have to ask, you said this one felt different amongst all of the things that you felt. I know it's very early, but did you feel, even like in some sense, did you also feel this feeling of closure? Like, has it hit you that this specific chapter of this issue of the hostages aren't home has actually, like, it's come to a close, it's over?
I don't like the sentence closure. Hostage families, and especially the one that came not alive, there will not be a closure till the end of our life. For me, it's not a closure. I believe for a Gvili family also, there is no closure because normal, it's never normal situation to lose your dearest. But normally when you lose one of your family, there is a process, a normal process. You get him, you separate from him, you bury him, you see Shiva after that 30 and 1 year. We could not do that. Even when they told us during the journey, during the period of the captivity, when they came to us and say, your son is not alive, it's a 90% estimate that he's not alive. And even they told us to say Shiva, etc. It was not real. And after they arrived, part of them during the 2 years and part of them after 2 years, my son was come back after 1 year and 9 months. I still, my life is still in captivity. And I think our captivity will never end. Because my son was there when I should separate, sit on him, a grave. He was there. So, in place of doing the natural process, in place of be in grave and, to realize that he's not alive, we could not do it because we were in our mission of the life, our life mission, to bring them here. And after so much time, when we bring them here, part of us could not separate. Part of us could not see, with the eyes that this is your son, that he came back. And when Talik got the message that Rani home, I went to Meitar from Tel Aviv. I was sitting there, and then I had deja vu. I saw her sitting, all the people around her, like it was in my home. And then I said, oh my God, she is the same like me. She is not realized. And then I went to her and I told her, Talik, you know, there is one thing I'm very regret. And you know, we all waited so long to get them here. And when they arrived, I stayed home. I didn't went to him. And I'm saying myself, how come? I was waiting so long that he will come. Even I could not separate him. Even I could not see him. I should go sitting next to his closet just to feel one-on-one, to be with him few seconds. I didn't do it. No one guided me. And when he arrived, you are in a situation that you are not here. You are not here, and people are coming, and we are talking, but you are not realized. And when Yonatan came back, it was the war with Iran. So people barely could go outside. So we were waiting to do the funeral, and it was, it came between Saturday to Sunday, and we make the funeral in Tuesday. So I have a lot of time to go, and sitting next to him, just me in the closet, he's inside thinking. Maybe I was thinking to see him. They told me it's better not to go. But after I got the report, after 3 months, I realized that they keep my son as it was. They make formalin or something. He came like he was. I could separate from him, and I didn't do it. And when Talik got run to Israel, I went to her and I said, please, if you are not going to see him, at least go and sit next to him. And she said, yeah. And I'm happy I told her to do it. I could not do it. But I told it to a lot of families after Yonatan came back. Most of the hostages that's left there came back 2 or 3 months after. And I told all of them, go, do it. And people went and did it. And you still don't have the closure, because no one can understand. It's not a regular death. It's not a regular situation.
It's insane. It's not comprehensible.
We have two, I will say it, mortal issues. Mortal, you say? 2 issues of death. One of them, your son dead.
Mm-hmm.
The other one, our lives dead. It's like we are starting our lives from beginning. After 2 years, we should start our life from scratch. We can go anymore to our previous work because nothing have a meaning. I was a workaholic. And I was working during the captivity also because it's helped me to stay calm and stay with, it's like run away to something. But after Yonatan came back, I could not drive the office. I was driving, making some tour in the parking, not going out from the car and coming back home. I couldn't think that I can continue to do my previous job because there is no meaning for nothing. And we really start our life from scratch.
I'm glad that you're sharing this because, as, the news has come out that his body has come back, everywhere you look, on every TV, in every newspaper, us included, there's this tmuna kolelet of, this great achievement that, that Rani has come home, and obviously it's an incredible achievement that Rani come home, but we don't hear enough accounts like these of, what happens after. And yeah.
During the last 3 months, when Talik was alone, I always told her,
Mm-hmm.
Talik, enjoy this period, enjoy. Because when Rani will come back, then the real pain will start. Now, you have a mission, you have a goal, and it's keep you strong. When he will back, then you will realize the real pain.
No, it's really hard to even try to imagine or to put into words.
Yeah.
So I was hoping that, before we go into more questions, I would love to hear more about, about your son, about Yonatan, not necessarily just about what happened to him, but the kind of person he was, who he was, and what you would like people to know about him.
Yeah, Yonatan, it's very difficult for me till now to talk about him as he was. So I'm talking about him as he is. And he is a very happy man. When I'm seeing Yonatan, I'm always seeing him jumping, laughing, joking. This is the picture I can see. Doing some nothing. He liked to do things and make jokes, and even if it was make us nervous, for him it was full of joy, and he was very, very, very creative, and his mind was working during the clock, never stop, always a lot of ideas. He liked to share, he liked to consult with everybody. If he had any idea, he was asking 100 people. Then he was doing what he thought. And he was only 21, but his achievements was like 80 years old. He makes so many things. He creates so many things. And I will tell you one of the things he did in the last year. He was a producer, a very known producer in Tel Aviv. He was doing events for 24 and up, even he was younger. And he told me one day, Mom, everybody doing parties. I'm not doing parties. I'm doing something special. And the regular parties are, people that like to drink, to dance, and smoke. I want very high quality of people in my events. So he decided in the last year to make 6 events, huge events, in a year, every 2 months. And he said, every 2 months, people will wait for the next event. It will not be 1 week after. He could do it every 1 week. But he said, I want it with high quality. So each event, he chose a concept. And around that concept, he make all the background, and he make a lot of, he tried to take music around this concept. And one of the things he decided to make t-shirts, very special t-shirts, with the concept, the name of the party. So there was pants, milk, etc. And the T-shirt was with a picture of the concept. And downstairs, all the DJs that were playing, or sometimes they bring famous DJs from all over the world, and he wrote it on the T-shirt, and it was special T-shirts, and he was selling it before the party, and he said, I will sell it in limited edition, 200 pieces. So people will fight, because each event was 1,000 people. And people was fighting to buy this T-shirt. And each event, he bring me the T-shirt and he say, keep it. Mommy will see, one day it will be a huge, a worldwide brand. And after he was kidnapped and I was traveling all over the world, I remember it, and I took those, he made just 5 T-shirts, because the 6th one, he didn't arrive. He was kidnapped in October, so the last one should be in December. And the one before was in October, before he was kidnapped. So I took with me all those T-shirts, and I remember that he liked very much the brand Stussy. The young people like it. So I said, okay, I should go to Stussy and ask them to make a line with his collection. And the unrealistic things that happened, that's when Yonatan was back by the army. I asked them if he still wear his clothes. And they checked, and they told me no. He came back with underwear and socks. But on the socks, it's written Stussy. And I was like that. I even didn't know he have socks with Stussy. And I said, oh my God, I chose Stussy just by that, because I knew he liked it. And he came back with the socks of Stussy. And I was, I wanted so much to go to Stussy, and took those T-shirts and make a line there. So this is one of my mission. I think one day I will succeed. But it's just one thing that can describe who was Yonatan.
It sounds like he really has, vision to put on productions, and like a real entrepreneur. And I have no doubt that you'll succeed in this mission. I think it's katan alaych, because I've also followed, I've seen your story, and I've seen I remember, throughout the war, you would go outside of you would follow the what's his name, the Secretary General of UNRWA, to demand that your son be released. And I obviously I've been covering the war since the beginning, and it's very, there's so much going on at all times, and genuinely, there's about the hostages, there's about the war, there's just the world, everything. There's so much, and for me, I remember, it's very easy to kind of get jaded and not really internalize things that are happening as they're happening, and then kind of a bit later, I would kind of be like, wow, that's insane. But then I remember I saw the story of you, following Felipe Lazzarin, and in the same moment, I was like, wow, like this is someone that doesn't give up. This is insane. So I have to commend you for that, because I thought that was absolutely incredible. I don't even want to talk so much about the broader things about the future of UNRWA in Israel, because I think that's a whole conversation for another day. But I thought that was absolutely incredible. Really, very inspiring. I want to ask, so now that everyone is home, we've spoken to members of the forum before, and we know that now that some of them have said now that the forum has achieved its, or when it will have achieved its goal, which is at this point now, it will disband. Um, so really everyone wants to know kind of, even if the families forum is disbanding, what is next? Are there going to be initiatives in order for support and recuperation and healing, and are there ways for other people to get involved to help? And yeah, just kind of like, what is, obviously, we the grief will always still be there and people are still recovering, but now that everyone is home, and we can't ignore that now, things are kind of moving towards the next phase of the ceasefire. It kind of seems like Israel is going into uncharted territory here, into a new chapter. So we're all just kind of wondering, what, for the forum, or for the families who are now all reunited, what is the next chapter?
The family forum was closed in December, and he continued his working with 2 or 3 people for Gvili family only. But now he will close his doors formally for the end, because this family forum was created for hostages and bring them home. But, and there is a huge but, when we had this family forum, we had the family forum, the one that we created, the families, but we also had the one that the government create for us. It's called the Minelet HaChatufim, and there's a lot of people that's working for us, and that place was built especially for the hostages family. And as far as I know, it was built from the beginning to 5 years. So after 2 years, most of the hostages came back. Now Ran came back, but this place should work another 3 years for us. Still, we are talking about people that's working for us. They are they are our representative in front of the government in formal issues during their life. None of us, I'm talking about parents and, the first level family of the hostages. None of us came back to his previous life. None of us came back to his work. And we need support. And people cannot think that, okay, they came back, cut, go back to your life. There is no way like that. We cannot. We are not oil. All the hostages, 255 people, we are very, it's a lot of people that's in the day before. Most of them were very successful, working very hard, doing everything, had normal life, normal family. We don't have nothing from that now. And we should build ourselves. There is an organization that started working. It's called 255, under the name of the 255 hostages. The families, not all of them joined this group yet. We still examine, because people would like to know that there will be an organization that will cover all our needs, and that will be for us. And actually, I create a plan that can help all the families to start their life from the beginning. By the way, that we will help each other. Each one of us will help, and we will be all together like a business, okay? We will manage this place, like a business. We will do everything together with sharing. And I think, first of all, it will give us a reason to wake up in the morning and come someplace and working one for each other. And unfortunately, our natural friends now, or our natural place now, is one with the other, because it's only us that can understand one each other. Even my sister, my brother, my father, they never can be in my place and understand me like the other mother of hostage. And it's no matter if he's life, if he came back life or dead, we're all in the same situation. So we are working very hard now to build something. I hope it will succeed. I hope the government will support it. And I hope we can go, and start our new life.
And obviously, we all wish you all great success in that, and we hope that you guys receive everything that you need. I would just like to ask in closing if after everything that was said and done, not just here but in general over the 2 years, is there any other sentiment, closing statement, idea that you want to pass on to listeners, something you think it's important for people to know?
It's very important that people will understand that our life is not the same like the other life of people that lose their child or something like that, because as I explained before, I lose my son, but during almost 2 years I could not sleep, eat, etc. And it's not words, it was for real. And I could not behave like a normal person, because I'm always saying, when I'm going and talking with people, I'm always tell them, when your child is not answer your phone 5 minutes when he is in the way from school home, you are calling him and he's not answer 5 minutes. What are you feeling? So try to understand what we felt almost 2 years or 2 years. It's worse, because you always thought, is he alive? He is not. If he is alive, are they treat him well? If he injured, are they taking care of him? If he is not alive, did they bury him or burn him or cut him for pieces and split it? And I will tell you one thing. I'm a normal person. A lot of people say I'm strong. But every evening when I was driving home and I was saw poor people or homeless, I was stopping my car. I was going out the car, looking on this person from close. Maybe it's my son. I had terrible thoughts. Maybe he was injured. Maybe they didn't treat him. Maybe he ran away. Maybe he forgot where is his home. Maybe he's not. Maybe he became crazy. Maybe he's walking here and I don't know. And I'm a normal person. But I was losing my mind every day. Even now. A lot of time when I'm driving, I'm seeing someone from far away that look like him. I'm saying, maybe they didn't bring him. Maybe it's him. Maybe one day they will call me and they say, it was a liar, your son is here. This is our life. Huge unknown, huge, even after they came back. Because we didn't felt this lose. We could not felt it. And people should understand that we are not the same like other people that's losing their dearest, because to lose someone, it's the same pain. This is the same pain for each mom or pap or father or sister or brother. But we have another pain with this pain, an extra one.
I couldn't even imagine, but I hear you. And again, I really appreciate that you're able to convey this, because this is what we need to hear.
I'm always saying, don't try to imagine. I don't want no one to imagine or to understand, because to imagine or to understand, they should be in my place. And this is I've been chosen to be in this place. And this is my suffer. You live okay. You live your life the best you can. Don't try to imagine. Just try to understand what we are feeling.
I think that's a great message to end on. Don't try to imagine, just understand and live your best life. That's, I really couldn't put it better myself if I tried. So yeah, I mean, first of all, again, thank you so much, not just for the time, but for the strength, for being able to just actually let us in on this and share this with us. And again, personally, while I have the opportunity, I would just like to say, thank you on behalf of literally just the whole country, the entire Jewish world, like how we really like just how we appreciate all of you, and we're behind you, we have your backs, and we all wish you all just really the best of luck, and hope that you all have the assistance that you guys need, and that you guys can really begin to heal. And again, thank you so much for sharing your stories, because it's so important.
Thank you for letting us sharing our story.
That's all we have for today's episode. We're glad that we're finally able to bring you all some good news. We'll be back with another episode next week, but until then, make sure to stay up to date with the latest out of Israel at jpost.com.